Shawn Collins.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shawn Collins, and for those of you that haven't met me, I am a resident of Orange County, where my wife, Zana, and I are raising our 4 beautiful young children. We have ages 9, 7, 4, and 2. My wife reminds me every single morning, including this morning, you picked the absolute worst time in our lives. I said, thank you, but I got the kids this morning, and she was happy with that. So I dropped the kids off at school. So a win for me this morning. Important things that you should know about me. I am a United States Navy veteran. I'm an Afghanistan combat veteran. I still serve in the United States Navy Reserves. I drill down in San Diego at 32nd Street, Point Loma, Coronado, wherever the Navy needs me on my drill weekend. For my civilian job, what I currently do, I'm a law partner at a law firm in Newport Beach. I run our consumer protection practice group, and I've been a practicing attorney now for 17 years, so I got to count it sometimes. Now, the most thing that I'm most proud of in my resume is my military service. The reason why I'm very proud of that is because I come from a long line of military service. So my grandfather is a World War II veteran. My father is a Vietnam era veteran. He was a field artillery officer in the United States Army in the Vietnam era. My older brother was a surface warfare officer. He served on 2 ships down in San Diego. I chose to serve in the United States Navy JAG Corps. And the reason why I'm very proud of my military service is because when I look at the history of the United States, I can say with a great deal of pride, every time this country has needed my family, we have stepped forward to serve. And so I take great pride in that. And so when people ask me, why are you running for governor right now? I say I view me running for governor as an extension of my service, but this is a service to my state. And so, you know, a lot of people say, well, Shawn, that's great. We respect your passion. We respect your admiration, but why governor? Don't you realize that's an impossible race to win? Didn't you see what happened in the recall? I say, yes, I did see what happened in the recall, but I only pay attention to 2 very important stats from that recall. And it pains me because I've been campaigning all over the state, and everybody asks me the same question. Everybody's so demoralized. The wind is out of our sails as a Republican Party because of the lopsided victory in that recall. But everywhere I go, I remind them there are 2 important data points you need to understand about that recall. Number 1, first of all, as hard as the Democrats tried to label it the Republican recall with their messaging and their commercials and their advertisements with over $100 million that was raised by Gavin Newsom, it was not a Republican recall. There are not enough registered Republicans in this state to get the signatures required to make that ballot initiative go through. There were a very large number of Democrats and NPPs that voted or signed that petition to have that recall happen. There were roughly 2.5 to 3 million Democrats and NPPs that actually voted yes on the recall. Okay? That's significant. Now, here's the other important thing you need to understand about that number. Of those Democrats and NPPs that voted yes on the recall, on the second question, the most common response was they left it blank. Now, a lot of people say, well, why would they leave it blank? I don't really care why they left it blank. What that tells me is they thought anybody was better than Gavin Newsom. It's true. They didn't care. They said, pick one of the 46. They'll do a better job than this guy. That's Democrats and NPPs. Now, why is that important? That means back in September, on September the 7th, a significant number of Democrats and NPPs in this state thought that anybody could do a better job than our current governor. And they were looking for answers. They were looking for solutions. Things have gotten worse since then. We weren't paying almost $7 a gallon at the pump back in September. There was not a shortage of baby formula back in September. We weren't paying record prices for groceries back in September. Things have gotten worse, and they still want answers. And I would submit to you that that number of 2.5 to 3 million Democrats and NPPs that are pissed off has gone up to at least 5 million right now. That means that we have a receptive audience of roughly 5 to 6 million voters that have never, ever thought about voting for a Republican that are a captive audience right now. So for every single candidate in this room, we have a unique opportunity to offer up conservative Republican solutions in this state and get this state back to being a red state again. It can be done. That's my message to everybody. Now here's the second important point about the recall that everybody needs to understand, okay? Only 2 million registered Republicans participated in the recall. We make up roughly 24% of the electorate in this state, which means there are roughly 5 to 6 or 5 to 7 million registered Republicans in the state of California. That means that 3/4 of our team stayed at home during the recall. Here's the reality of the situation. You cannot win a game if your team does not show up to participate in the game. In sports, we call that a forfeit. And we have to take ownership of the fact that we forfeit the recall. I want to make those numbers a little bit more concrete for you. Gavin Newsom got roughly 7.9 million no votes. There were roughly 4.5 million votes cast for yes. Think about that. If just half of our team that chose not to participate had actually participated, we might have a new governor right now. So we have to get activated. We have to motivate our base to get out and vote. We can win on a statewide basis here in California again. Now, a lot of people say, okay, well, what's your strategy? What are your Republican solutions that you were going to put forward? So when I decided I was going to get into the governor's race, I was fortunate that I actually know Governor Glenn Youngkin from Virginia. So I played basketball at Rice University in Houston, Texas. Governor Glenn Youngkin played basketball at Rice University in Texas. So before I decided I was going to get into this race, I called him up. I said, hey, Glenn, what went through your mind when you decided that you were going to get into the race for governor of Virginia? Now, keep in mind, a lot of people say, well, Shawn, you've never run for political office before. I say, I know that. Governor Glenn Youngkin had also never run for political office before. He was only a finance guy. He had never so much as run for student body president. And I said, Glenn, what was your thought process? He said, Shawn, like you, I have 4 young children. I knew something was wrong with the state of Virginia, and I wanted to do something about it. He says, I looked for an issue in my state that transcended politics. And he says, for me, it was education. He said, the great thing about education, Shawn, everybody wants their child to get a quality education, and everybody wants their child to have a future. He said, I made that my message to the 8 million of Virginians. And he said, Shawn, 3 days from now, I'm going to be giving the inauguration speech as the next governor of Virginia, because I was talking to him back in January before he gave his inauguration speech. And so he said, Shawn, my task for you is if you're going to move forward with this, you need to find the issues in your state that transcend politics and come up with conservative Republican solutions to solve those big issues. And so when I did my homework and I reflected on it, we have 3 big issues in this state. Cost of living, public safety, as Nathan Hockman pointed out, and then our failing K-12 education system. Now, usually when I flag those 3 issues, somebody will say homelessness. Yes, homelessness is a very big problem, but I view the homelessness problem and the public safety problem as one and the same. Because as one of our speakers alluded to earlier, a lot of the crime is being perpetuated by the fact that we have homeless encampments all over our cities here in the state of California. So, how do we win? We win by offering up conservative Republican solutions that solve these really big problems in this state. I'll start with the public safety issue. I tell everybody everywhere I go, when a person walks up to you and decides they're going to mug you in the state of California, they do not ask for your voter registration card. They don't care. They don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, Green Party, Tea Party, whatever you call yourself. They want your personal possessions and they want to do you harm. That is an issue that matters to everybody in California, and we have to build accountability back into our criminal justice system. The second issue, cost of living. When you go to the gas pump right now, there's not a price for a Democrat, there's not a price for a Republican. It's the highest price in all of America right now, and it's a totally self-inflicted wound. We have a 51 cent per gallon gas tax right now that the supermajority in Sacramento is refusing to suspend. Why? Because they don't have to listen to the people of California. They have a supermajority. They are daring the state of California to vote them out right now, and I tell everybody that will listen, Democrats, Independents, call their bluff. Vote them out. Okay? And then the third issue, I know I'm running short on time, is our K-12 education system right now. That is a very significant issue, and I'm going to tell you why it's a significant issue. Right now, our K-12 education system currently ranks 40th out of 50 in all of America. Our literacy rate ranks 50th out of 50 in all of America. We are the 5th largest economy in the world. We have a budget of over $300 billion. As many of our speakers have alluded to, we have a budget surplus of over $100 billion. We spend more per capita per student than any state in all of America. We spend roughly $16,000 per student. Wow. We don't have a resources problem in this state. We have a competency problem in this state. And just yesterday, our governor said, you know what? With our budget surplus, we're going to bump it up to $23,000 per student. Think about how insane that is. I just told you, we don't have a resources problem. We have a competence problem. We're already spending more than any state per student, and we have the worst results in all of America. And he said, we're going to double down on that same losing strategy. That is the hallmark of terrible leadership. And I'm running for governor of California just to bring common sense back to our state. So I need your support. Shawn Collins for CA.com. Thank you for having me. And we can win in this state again. Believe we can win in this state again. Thank you.